Iran and Syria. The fallout of the second Iraq war, which Tony Blair took us into, is still being felt today. Yemen, Syria, this would not be happening had he not unleashed what he unleashed with that war. And we have had, and yet despite during that period, I still found people within the Rochdale community who voted Labour. Yes, they voted for other political parties, but they continued to vote Labour because whether it was on the issue of healthcare or education or welfare, whatever it was, they still felt they could find something within that political party, despite the fact that they had somebody like Tony Blair at the head of it. So what I would say to you is, look, I'm not here to defend Boris Johnson. You know, I think people know that I spend most of my time fighting Boris Johnson. But let's look at how much, I take the point that you say, what can be achieved when you're on the inside? 4 years ago. So let me go back to 10 years ago. 2010, I said Islamophobia had passed the dinner table test. My party said, nah, we don't think it is. You shouldn't have made that speech. I said, and then this came back and said, there's no evidence. 2012, we put in process a system which showed that Islamophobia did exist, and here was the evidence. 2013, we started to put in place government-funded schemes to document evidence of Islamophobia. 2015, I privately said to my party, we have got an issue of Islamophobia within our party. They said, I don't think we have. 2016, I started giving them the evidence. 2017, I wrote to the Prime Minister. 2017, at the end of it, I went public. So my party went from saying, we don't have an issue, we don't have the evidence, to now in 2019 saying, we do have an issue and we have seen the evidence. 2015, they went from saying, we don't have a problem, to 2019 accepting that we will have an inquiry. And yes, they may be sliding around on what kind of inquiry it will be, but we will have an inquiry. 2016, my party said, there's no such thing as Islamophobia, we don't like the word. 2017, they said, we don't want a definition of Islamophobia. 2019, my party is saying, there is Islamophobia and we will have a definition, just not the one that Saeeda really likes at the moment. They'll move. This battle is not fought overnight. You know, the battle for equality, whether it's women's rights, whether it's black civil rights, whether it's rights around other minorities, these battles, you know, ये एक दिन की, 2 दिन के, 10 दिन की जंग नहीं होती. मैं कहती हूँ कि सियासत जो है, और शायद जो मेरी बहनें हैं वो यहाँ पे समझेंगी, सियासत ऐसे है जैसे दाल और चावल को साफ करना, राइट? एक एक दाना आपको साफ करना पड़ता है और उसमें से गंदा आहिस्ता आहिस्ता उठा के बाहर फेंकना पड़ता है. और ये 10 साल लग जाते हैं, 20 साल लग जाते हैं. Like, what you have to think is, do you want representatives who will simply say, yes sir, ठीक है, जो कुछ आप कह रहे हैं सो है? Or do you want representatives who are going to be brave and bold and लड़ने के लिए तैयार हैं? Honestly, ये जंग है. मैं हर रोज मेरे मियाँ यहाँ पे मेरे साथ है. मैं हर वीकेंड को अपने मियाँ को कहती हूँ, you know what, this weekend, that's it, I've had enough. ये नहीं लड़ा जाता मुझसे. ये क्या, you know, हर रोज जागती हूँ, हर रोज एक झगड़ा होता है. मेरे लिए इतना tempting है कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, Allah has been very good to us. Allah has really blessed us. कभी कभी मैं ये सोचती हूँ कि हमें सिर्फ जो है ना अपनी ज़िंदगी जीनी चाहिए, आराम से घूमें फिरें, अच्छी ज़िंदगी गुजारें. As my mum says, अच्छे कपड़े पहनो, अच्छा खाना खाओ, किसी के साथ लड़ाई ना करो, right? My mum's advice sometimes is very tempting कि क्यों झगड़े करती हो. My mum said, हर जगह पे तू कहती है आ बैल मुझे मार, क्यों हर झगड़े में तू पहले पड़ती हो, right? It's a very, मेरी अम्मी ने मेरे साथ, जब मैंने सियासत में कदम रखा, आंटी मेरी अम्मी मेरे साथ नहीं थे. मेरी अम्मी कह रहे थे तुझे क्या ज़रूरत है सियासत में पाँव रखने के लिए, अच्छी खासी तेरी ज़िंदगी है. मैं वकील थी उस वक्त, तेरा काम है, जॉब है, पैसे हैं, इज्जत है, शोहरत है, तुझे क्या ज़रूरत है जाके अपनी बेइज्जती करवाने के लिए? सियासत में सिर्फ ही बेइज्जती है और जाके वहाँ पे तू हर रोज़ उनके साथ झगड़ा करोगी. लेकिन मैं कहती हूँ कि जिन लोगों को सियासत की ज़रूरत नहीं है ना, सियासत को उनकी ज़रूरत है. जिन लोगों ने अल्लाह ताला ने सब कुछ दिया होता है ना, जैसे आतिफा को अल्लाह ताला ने दिया हुआ है, सियासत को उनकी ज़रूरत है. Because you fight more and you fight braver. So I would say to you, Maqsood, yes, it's tough. I know this. Every weekend I get up and I think, oh my God, another fight. But you have to fight, because the fight for equality is not easy. And if we're not going to fight for ourselves, you know what keeps me going? Hamare mashallah, we have 3 grandchildren. And when I wake up, I think to myself, I'm fighting for my kids. I'm fighting for my grandkids. I'm fighting for a world where they will stand up and say, I don't care what color I am, and I don't care what religion I am, and I don't care where you think my great-grandfather came from. I am equal to you. I have equal worth and value, and I'm not going to be grateful for the fact that you've allowed me a little seat at the table. No, diversity is no longer enough. A seat at the table is no longer enough. I want to have a voice, and I want to have a voice that counts on my terms. And I am convinced that Atifa will do that.
The first thing, and I have had these conversations with many people in our community, the first thing that I say is, वो क्यों करें? वोट तो आप उनको देते हैं. Why should they do it? The only way to bring about change is to use your democratic right, which is to vote. If what you want is not happening, don't vote for them. It's as simple as that. The most successful towns in this country have good competition between the parties. They have one council led by one party and they have a member of parliament from the opposition. एक दूसरे को जब सवाल करते हैं ना तो फिर करते हैं क्योंकि वोट के लिए लड़ रहे हैं ना, पावर के लिए लड़ रहे हैं. The second thing is that every single issue that you have listed, Aziz, is an issue that I understand from the bottom of my heart, because these issues affect me. You know, since this hospital has closed down, my father, who mashallah is 80 years old, you know, they don't tell me when they have an appointment at Oldham or Bury, because my dad knows that I will take time to take him to the hospital. Instead, he gets a bus to the town centre, changes the bus, and then gets the bus out into Oldham or into Bury. So these are the reasons why I'm fighting, because they affect me. When it comes to homelessness, I have been trying on a Greater Manchester level to just get in place services. I have plans, and please, every single one of you is invited to my house to see my room, my office, to see the plans that I have to address the issues that we have in this country. Please come and see that, see it firsthand. And you know, homelessness is an issue that we have brought upon ourselves, but we must stand by them. We have so many buildings in this town that are misused, that are not used, that we can turn around and turn into simple shelters for our homeless. And please come to my house and see the plans that I have. But just getting that off the ground has been difficult, because when you go knocking on the council doors, they don't want to know. And for me, when I don't see what I like, I think, do you know what? If you want to get a job done, do it yourself. And that is what I'm trying to do. And every single one of those issues and more are things that I will address, because we have to. It's our home, it's our town.
And from a selfish perspective, you know, जब आतिफा जैसे लोग पार्टी में आते हैं ना, तो मेरे हाथ मजबूत होते हैं. You know, when I fight for issues, और मेरे साथ जो खड़े होते हैं, उनकी वजह से मैं भी मजबूत होती हूँ. And that's why it's important कि ये नहीं है सिर्फ कि एक generation. I mean, I'm nearly 50 now. You know, I'm moving on to a different stage in my life. ये नहीं हो सकता हम सिर्फ यही कहें कि देखो किसी ज़माने में, I mean, ये तो वही कभी हम जब मैं मुसलमान अपने बहन भाइयों से बात करती हूँ, वो कहते हैं ना कि 300-400 साल पहले हमने फ्ला मैथमेटिक्स में जो है ना अचीव किया था, 700 साल पहले हमने वो चीज़ एस्ट्रोनॉमी अचीव की थी. I'm like, fine, लेकिन वो 700 साल पहले था, ये 300 साल पहले था. आज क्या हम लोग कर रहे हैं? Don't talk about what we achieved then. आज क्या कर रहे हैं? हर जनरेशन को अपनी जंग खुद लड़नी पड़ती है. You know, I am getting to the stage now where there will come a time, there's no point कि आप 20 साल में बैठो बोलो एक हमारी कम्युनिटी में होती थी सईदा वारसी, oh my god उसने ये अचीव किया, वो तो मर गई अभी. Like, what's happened after that? उसके बाद कौन आया था? And that's why I'm saying to you that every generation has to have the next generation of leadership. और अपनी selfish मेरी ये है कि जब आतिफा जैसे लोग आगे आएंगे, I can go back to having a bit of a life then. From 2010 onwards, since the time of the Conservative government, we've had a huge hospital, we've had an expansion to the hospital, we've had huge investment in the town centre, we've had a huge house building exercise, we've had arts, culture, schooling, we've had new schools, we've had new academies, and it's been under a conservative government. I honestly believe national government, of course, will make a difference as to making decisions on taxing and spending priorities. But what happens to a town is very much dependent on your local representative. This town, if I can just finish this town has had a Labour Member of Parliament under a Labour government. This town has had a Labour Member of Parliament under a coalition government with the Liberal Democrats and the Conservatives. And this town has had a Labour Member of Parliament under a Conservative-only government. And the question that I would be asking is that governments have changed colours at the national scene. We've had periods of huge spending, little spending, more spending, less spending. Why has the town continuously declined?
It's only declined once the Conservatives came in. Before that, it was fine.
But if you look at the statistics...
I have to say something the sister said. First I have to do it myself. I met Atifa on 19th of November, first time. Most of the people here know I'm the most controversial figure. Last 10 years, any MP who's been MP for 40 years done, she's done more than that. She's the right candidate. I said to my daughter, I said, Nida, can you please find Google the most deprived towns in this country?
Yeah.
She found the last 20, the most deprived towns. Rochdale is one of them.
True.
I tell her.
Decisions that my party have taken. The stuff around universal credit was a terrible decision. The bedroom tax was a terrible decision. There have been some terrible welfare judgments that have been made. The way in which we got our balance on tax and spend. I mean, for all his kind of shortcomings, Boris Johnson accepts that the whole drive on austerity, we got the balance wrong. So I completely agree with you that actually under the last 10 years, since 2010, there have been challenging times financially for the country. But I would also say this to you, that I have been in towns during those challenging times, and those towns have also thrived because of the fact that they have had hardworking, focused, locally driven members of parliament. Look, I don't like to talk about individuals, but you've had a member of parliament here not so recently. You know about that member of parliament. You know what he's been occupying his time with, right? He really hasn't been focusing his attention on getting on with the job of being a member of parliament for Rochdale. Rochdale, forget the party politics. I don't care if he's Labour, Conservative or anything, right? But you take your last member of parliament, Rochdale deserves better than that. Sure. I'm sorry, Rochdale deserves better than that, whatever political.
Thank you. Next question.
Assalamualaikum. Thanks for coming to Rochdale.
But based upon kind of the over 2 decades that I've now been in politics, my instinct is that the Conservative, my party, is going to win this election, right? That's the reality of where we are. The reality of and forget the polling now, this is kind of understanding how constituencies work, the size of the swing, the number of the seats, the way it all works. My party is going to win this election, right? Every indication is my party is going to win this election. So you are, whether we like it or not, and I completely take on board that might be your worst nightmare, right? But yeah, exactly, and that might be the worst nightmare for lots of people in this country, in terms of what will happen. But Atifa makes a really strong point here. If there is going to be a Conservative government for the next 5 years, the question you have to ask yourself is, who do you want speaking for Rochdale during that time?
Yes.
Do you want somebody who, you know, for bless him, I'm sure Tony's a lovely person, right? And this is a nice little retirement seat for him, because I presume this is his last term, right? He's done all the other great jobs. This is a nice little retirement plan for him, right? So do you want somebody who's going to see out his nice next 4 years, 5 years of retirement in Rochdale, and then will go off and live wherever he needs to live after that? Or do you want somebody who is going to be fighting from the inside of the party of government, who is going to live here whether she wins or she loses, who at the end of this 5 years isn't going to go off and retire somewhere, is going to carry on living here, and who her and her family feel the everyday impact of the traumatic experiences that you're talking about. So I would say this to you, yes, this is a leap of faith. I know it is. I can understand what may be going through your heart. Do you not think that there are days when I wake up and think, oh my God, look at what my party is saying around this issue, for example, of Islamophobia. I can't even bear, thinking about where they're coming from on this issue. But I would still go back to you and say this to you. In the event of a Conservative government, which is most likely going to be the outcome in 4 or 5 days time, I am telling you, hand on heart, taking on board all the concerns that you have raised. And look, I'm too old to be giving you nonsense on party politics. I think most people in this room know that I don't sit there and do party politics. I call out what I need to call out, and I'm very clear about it. But from a very clear tactical voting perspective, you are far better with a young, enthusiastic, campaigning person who lives and works in Rochdale than somebody who's just going to throw a few stones from the outside and is going to achieve nothing for Rochdale.